Hey, what up guys? This is Austin, back today with another key video. And what I want to talk about today is the topic of, is the woman actually interested in you, or is she just being polite? So it's about that time again today. So let's put on our seatbelts and let's get ready to level up. Okay, so recently I hear a lot of guys talking about this issue and struggling at times, but no more after today. We'll be ending all the confusion as I give you the key indicators to know without a doubt if she's being polite or if she's actually interested in you. Now, this past week, we've been talking about approaching and getting used to walking up to attractive women and getting their number so you can set up a date at a later time. Okay, now, early on, when you just meet a girl, it can be tough to tell if these women will flake on you or not because she's only met you for 5 seconds. However, one way you can tell if she's interested in you is after you've gone up to her and sparked up an interaction, talking a minute and introducing yourself. You just get the number and you can repeat it back to her with the last digit off. And now if she wants you to contact her, taking things further, she will repeat it back to you with the right number. Also, you can say to the girl, text me, if she doesn't say that to you first, right before leaving. And clearly, if she texts you first, she's interested in a date or getting to know you better. Now, some important things to note, or where this can get tricky, are places like work. Now, just remember, if a woman is being friendly to you, or if she's being polite, now this doesn't automatically mean she's interested, especially if she's working at the time. Now, guys, I want you to memorize this next part. I shouldn't have to say this, but I know a lot of guys are young and impressionable, so somebody has to save you. So here it goes. Stay away from flirting with these two types of women: bartenders, strippers. Now, I know this is going to come to a shock to a lot of you here today, but these two types of women are never into you. I don't care if she says you're God's gift to the earth or the world. Stop spending money with her for 5 minutes and then see what she says. Okay. Now, these women get paid to inflate men's egos and take as much money from you as possible. But now that we know these two types of women who are never interested in you and trying to play you, you can avoid this terrible situation. I think they've made several women's movies about this, making fun of these types of guys. So please do us all a favor and don't get hustled by these types of destructive women. Now, some of the key indicators all women show you when they are in fact interested in you are: number one, did the women themselves make themselves visible to you? This can mean, do you see them regularly in class, work, or out at social gatherings? The main thing here is, do they come up to you? I'm not talking about, are they at work with you because they have to be? I'm saying, do they come up to you at times despite having no reason at all, or just when you're out socially? If so, this is a very clear indicator that she is interested. Now, if this happens, I'm either going to ask her schedule and set up a date or a time to meet up quick. and you can ask her, 2 times. If she turns you down, most girls will give you another time to hang out, but she's going to be interested, so she's likely not going to turn you down. But just as a rule of thumb, if you ask a girl out 2 times and she doesn't give you an alternative time both times, it's best just to move on. Now, number two, the second key indicator of interest is they know where you're going to be and they show up at those places. This could be at a friend's party, a social gathering, or wherever y'all come in contact together. If you start seeing her around you more regularly, this is another clear indicator of interest. I remember I was at like a party one time and I had to kind of hide. There was 3 girls that all came to this party at once, and I was talking to all 3, but not like seriously, like just you know, kind of met them all at the same time. And it was funny. My boy was helping me like move throughout the venue. I remember seeing this like famous rapper at the time, and um, this is an awesome party. But anyway, I ended up talking to all 3 of the girls, but one of them I think caught on because she got mad, and I had to leave a little bit early. But chicks, what can you do? So, but that's the number 2 key indicator of interest. Now, number 3 is if she starts touching you a lot, or if she starts kind of nudging you here and there when she's talking or flirting with you. Um, that's a clear indicator that she's comfortable with you touching her, or vice versa, and that she wants you to move things forward. Number 4 is she smiles a lot. Now, this one can be a little tricky because women do smile a lot when they're just being polite, but it's a type of smile you can usually tell from the polite ones where they kind of throw a wink in there, too. And and then they kind of or get a little bit more flirty or playful. Now, number 5 is if you hear from a friend, a lot of women will either like put a birdie out or tell a guy through her friends that they're interested, and that's one of the most clear indicators of interest. And if you do have this happen, you need to ask the girl out like as soon as possible, because if you don't, she's either going to think 2 things. She's going to think you don't like her, or she's going to think you probably like men. Always act, I always like to say strike while the interest is high. So now that you have the 5 indicators of interest that will serve you when you're trying to pick out the serious ones from the girls who are just using you or just want male attention, with that said, let's go into the 5 indicators of disinterest. Now, number 1, if when talking to her, she is always busy or never available. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. If you ever try to set something up, she's just always avoiding you, or always something comes up. Like I said, I asked a girl, you know, maybe 2 times at the most, and then I just move on. Now, number 2, this one's a little trickier. If she takes all day to respond to your text. Now, this one can be tricky because I've had girls flirt with me but still take a long time. So what that means though, guys, is if she takes a long time, I'm not talking about like doing normal stuff. Like sometimes girls take an hour or two to, they're working, or they're, maybe working out or at the grocery store or just doing girl things. Things take time. So if a girl takes like an hour to get back to you, that's a little slow, but I'd say about an hour. Most people can get back to most people within an hour, unless they're doing some type of job that, requires them not to have their phone. But that's not most people. So I would say give the girl about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to get back to you. And but yeah, like the girl that was kind of leading me on at this time, I was young and a little bit naive, and she was like really flirty with me in person too. So I don't know. It just was just kind of odd, and it just seemed like she just wanted male attention. So she would like text me all these like flirty emojis and things, and um, she would take though like 3 and 4 hours. Sometimes it would be like and 8 hours later. And after a while, like you just kind of get put out with the girl because it's kind of like, why are you doing this? Like, so, but anyways, one of the great equalizers for men, one of our superpowers that that cuts through the BS or the with women is women are indirect. So a lot of times they'll be indirect and they'll be flirty as long as you'll allow it. But as men, we have the superpower of being direct. Now, funny enough, women actually think you have like a pair when you are direct. I don't know what happened with, when you're in school, you have all this conditioning where the teacher tells you like to never talk. So like you get conditioned to be like a little shy, like agreeable person, but forget all that crap. So with girls though, they have to reveal their hand. So if a girl's doing this to you and she's taking, let's say, maybe a few hours to get back to you and whatever, the great equalizer, guys, is I just ask her out. And now, if you ask the girl out, she has to show her hands. And if she's not interested in you, she's not going to give you the chance to go out with her. So even if she does all that flirting, maybe back in the day, girls could do that to guys, and we were slow with it because we were like, when you're young, you're too shy, or you just didn't have a car, you didn't have the means to go out yet. So that was just kind of like girls would just flirt to flirt. But when you get more like intentional about dating and you want to, you don't want to waste your time. Time is valuable. So uh, after you've kind of sparked up an interaction with her, that's why I say don't flirt a ton, guys, until you've gotten to the date. Just always try to set something up within the first couple days of talking to her or so. And if she doesn't give you the date, then you won't be struggling because the more time that you give her where y'all don't set something up is the more time she can play you. But if you don't give her that amount of time to play you, then you're not going to get played. And like I said, asking her for the date cuts through all the BS. So just something to keep in mind. Now, number three, this is a good one. Now, if y'all have zero common interest or different ideas of what would be fun for, like, say, a day or weekend, she might be studious and likes to read books. You might be adventurous like me and want to ride jet skis or might want to do outdoorsy things or play golf or, travel, things like that. You're not gonna probably, even I've gone on dates with many times of attractive women, but if they're not, uh, if they're not necessarily like into the same things, an attractive person can be incredibly dull. So just always look for common interests when I'm trying to find like a girl that's compatible, just because I know I'm going to enjoy being with her if we can go and do things that we both enjoy. So that's number three. Number four. Now, she may be playful or fun, but if a boundary always comes up and she flakes or goes cold, this means she's using you. And similarly with the texting, this could be like if you're talking to her, even in person, and something always comes up, or a boundary always comes up, but she's just using you to talk to you about like maybe a big indicator is if she's only talking to you about her problems. A lot of girls would do this with like the nice guys or whatever because and the nice guys think that they're getting something out of it. Like they're being polite because they think like that they might have a chance with the girl, but they don't realize that like girls don't look at those type of men as like men that they want to date. They kind of just use them for attention and as like a friend guy. It's it's almost like a girlfriend in a way. You really just want to stay away from being that type of guys. So, and number five, she only makes work about work or school about school. So this could mean like if you're joking with her and she's not receptive to it, or she's kind of short with you, and then she always brings up like a work topic or a school topic. that just means she looks at you as like a study buddy or coworker. Now, the difficulty with most women is being able to read the difference between cordialness and genuine desire. But to better illustrate this and how to tell the difference between women that are polite or cordial and women that are genuinely interested, let me share a little story of mine from a while ago when I was working at a gym. There were three girls I always opened with or closed with. Now, working here, I didn't think anything of pursuing these women because they typically, uh, at work, I was focused on the job itself. However, the more I worked with these women over time, I started to notice these indicators and several things that began to fall into place naturally with time. Now, I had both types of women in this scenario, two that were interested and one that was just being polite. So, this will be a good example if you're struggling to read women and not sure what to make of your own interactions. Going forward, let there be no doubt. Now, they would rotate our schedules and they would have one guy close the gym and one chick close the front. So every week or weekend, I was closing with one of these girls. So, how did I know which girls were into me versus the ones that were just being polite? Well, it all came down to the interactions themselves. As I worked with these chicks, for me, it happened so easily because I didn't even try or focus on them. This allowed me to get into state and flow naturally and joke around and share laughs with each of the three girls. Now, the two ones that liked me, I noticed laughed a lot at my jokes and would always try to say something whenever I came in the room, and they would share more details about themselves as a person on what they like to do or like the me and her dynamic. That's another big part of it, guys. When you're talking to these girls, do they share about themselves, kind of making it like a you and them type of interaction? Or is it just kind of like mundane topics? That's a huge indicator. So, a lot of times we would joke and they would just share different details about themselves, and I got to know them better and find out what they like to do. And so the conversations just flowed naturally. Now, the one that I didn't go out with, we never had the same schedule as much, but she was always kind but kept things job related. And even when I joked, she was receptive to it, but she was just, I could tell, very shy, and I couldn't tell if she had like a boyfriend or if she just wasn't interested, but she didn't seem to show me the same type of energy or as excitement as the other two girls. Maybe things would have happened with her, but she wasn't there long enough before she got another job, and so I really only knew her to be only a polite coworker. Now, with all this being said, some of the last key elements of game become visible in these social situations. Okay, thinking back to why these women were interested in me, I can say with 100% certainty it was because of the interactions themselves that made or broke me. So, this is why I really emphasize to guys that your personality is the most important factor when dealing with women. Once women experience this, they know if you're a good match. Now, I know school, and for some of you younger guys starting out, getting focused on competing with your friends and everything becomes a um, wiener measuring contest. You start to do things for the wrong reasons. And this is why it's so important to find out what is truly important to you and what fits your personality versus the things that you truly don't need, or cutting out the toxic type of competitive nature that is robbing you of your state or joy and moving toward a collaborative state when you're around people so that you can easily unlock your flow state and have as much fun as possible. Just remember, when you act a certain way, you're either getting 1% closer to yourself by choosing yourself, and flow state and self confidence will increase by 1% when you choose you, or you lose a piece of yourself by 1% by compromising who you are over time for who you think you should be instead of who you truly are. Eventually, this adds up, and the guy who excels with women is uniquely himself versus the guy who has compromised himself for what he thinks the world's definition of success with women is. This is why you can see guys that have stunner chicks at times and have nothing going for them and have like three baby mamas or girlfriends and um but all the while they're confident in themselves and are not cringy like the guys who keep asking what do they need to get something from the girl, or they feel inadequate or coming from a needy frame. These men now may have some other issues but are attractive to women because they never doubt themselves or compromise who they are and give off to women the vibe of I'm the man. With all of this being said, not only will you know when women are interested versus only being polite, you now realize women have to experience your personality to feel anything for you and to emotionally invest. This will make you 10 times more effective at standing out to women than anything else you can do. The two girls at the gym were into me after we interacted because they saw I was a confident and lighthearted guy who wasn't trying too hard but was in his own flow and confident in himself. Now, once you shift from the frame, what do I need to get from these women, to how can I have the best time when I'm around women, you will 10x your results. This is Austin, taking your game to the next level. Until next time.